Hi, his Nibs here, and in today's video we're going to take a look at the Conklin Crescent-filler demo version. It has a clear barrel and cap and allows you to see the ink inside once you've used the crescent to fill it. Although this video is about the Conklin Crescent demonstrators, which are limited editions, I wanted to do just a quick review of Conklin as it's existed under Jaffa's ownership, as well as just give a really brief history of the pen company itself, which was originally founded in 1898. And the Conklin Crescent-filler, this is the Crescent, really was the pen that made Conklin's name and made it one of the premier pen makers in the world, and brought Mark Twain in 1903 to become its official spokesman. He said at the time in various ads, quote, "I prefer it to 10 other fountain pens because it carries its filler in its own stomach, and I cannot mislay even by art or intent. Also, I prefer it because it's a profanity saver. It cannot roll off the desk." Conklin went through a number of different hands and ownerships over the years, over the centuries now. But Jaffa took it over, I guess about 10 years ago. And these are representations of the first new Conklin Crescent fillers. Originally they came with all chrome trim, as you can see, and came in 4 color combinations: a midnight black, which I don't have to hand. This is the yellow blue marble, for obvious reasons. Here we have this is a mouthful, the spring green gold leaf marble version. And this is the Red Desert Stone Marble. And when I first introduced these a number of years ago, I made a video of filling these and introducing these models, which you can find somewhere on YouTube. So that was the first generation, as it were. The second generation, of which I have 2 of the colors here, were gold plated furniture. This is the Halloween model, really nice orange and black. And the black chased version, which actually had rose gold trim on it. And there are 2 others, which I again don't have to hand. But this basically shows you the difference in the chrome trim and the gold or rose gold trim models. So now we come to the 2 new limited edition demonstrator versions of the Conklin Crescent. I actually like to think of these as the steampunk versions, because you're taking a pen from the late 1890s and updating it. And with the transparent demonstrator versions, you got two pens that really make a statement in one's pocket. The two versions are the one with the black trim, and also has Monteverdi's black nib, and this is available in fine or F, M, B, and 1.1 stub. As you may know from my previous videos and also on the website, I think the Monteverdi regular nibs run about a size smaller, half a size to a size smaller than a typical Western nib. So to me, the B is a typical medium, the M is a typical fine, and the F is an extra fine. And then we have here the rose gold trim version of the Conklin Crescent Demonstrator. And I'll take a look at the Crescent close up in a moment, but basically the action is that you turn this locking wheel until there's a depression here, which allows the crescent to depress the sac inside the pen. Now this is the same as would be produced with a pump converter or a lever filler. In each case, you're depressing the sac inside, and when you release it, a partial vacuum is being created, allowing the ink to be sucked up into the sac reservoir. And what's great with these demonstrators is that you can see the process. And you'll also get to see directly the color of the ink that you fill the pen with, which we'll also do in a little bit. And then after you've filled the crescent filler with ink, you want to turn the locking ring around so that the crescent can no longer depress or accidentally squirt ink all over you, which I think is a rather sensible precaution. So again, here's the all rose gold version and the black trim version with black nib. Okay, so let's try and get a close-up of the cap band and the crescent. So on the front side of the cap band it says Conklin, and on the rear, Mark Twain, his signature, limited edition, and the particular number out of 1,898, 1898, the year that Conklin was founded. Now, if we take a look at the crescent, with this light, you really can't see it. It just says Conklin across the crescent here. But it's not filled in, so it's very hard to see. And this side is a little better, however, because it has gold color filling. And it says Crescent Filler and trademark. And sorry that this is going in and out of focus. It's a little hard to do. And here we can see the actual pressing of the crescent. You can see the bar pressing down on the sac and then releasing. Sorry if this close-up movement is making you a little seasick. Okay, well, I have the macro lens on this. Let's take a quick look at the nibs. This is obviously the black. And again, very hard to see. I'm sorry. Conklin, Toledo, USA. And has the size designation. Both of these happen to be M's. And let's hope the gold and chrome shows up a little bit better in this light. Okay, there's the nib size, M. And Conklin, Toledo, USA, and the Crescent breather hole. You can actually see the feed behind it. And there we go. And I've tried, but it's hard to show this without any lens flare. Okay, let's fill one of these on camera. My fingers are ink stained with Cadillac green because I filled the black one off camera, but the gold one will show you live, as it were. And I'm going to use one of Private Reserve's newer inks, Vampire Red, which will hopefully show up well in the demonstrator. So again, what you want to do, you see that there's a part of the ring that is cut out, and you want to move that cut out portion by turning it so it's underneath the crescent, and then the crescent can depress and suck ink into the sac. It's a little hard to do this with the camera in front of me, but ideally when you're filling one of these at home, you really can do it one-handed if you like, just by pressing on the sac. So hopefully I can do this so you can see the filling action. So I'm depressing and releasing, and you can see the ink moving up into the sac. And we'll do another one. And one more. And that's enough for this demonstration. I haven't completely filled the sac. Wipe some of this down. But you can see the ink there in the sac as it moved back and forth. And I don't know if this is going to work, getting light behind it to see the red. It's a little hard to do. The the light is causing a bit too much flaring on the camera. But anyway, the next thing you do after you partially or fully fill the sac with ink is you want to lock the locking mechanism back in place so that you don't accidentally depress the crescent, which would cause a bit of a mess, although it might be good for squirting someone with ink across the room. I'll have to try that later. So I'll put this aside. And both of these crescent fillers have the M nib, which again feels like a typical Western fine. So this is Vampire Red ink from Private Reserve. I always find it a little difficult to write from behind the camera because I'm kind of looking through the camera as I write. So excuse my less than perfect cursive, please. And this has the M nib, which both in Conklin and Monteverdi nibs are like a typical Western fine. Okay, we'll cap this bad boy again. It's kind of fun to not have it completely full so you can see the ink moving back and forth. This is a large pen, so it has quite a large ink capacity, as you can see. And the one I filled previously with the black, I put in Cadillac green ink, and that's also, it's not from Monteverdi, what am I saying? It's from Private Reserve. And again, I didn't completely fill this prior to videotaping. So there you have the two limited edition Conklin Crescent demonstrators, transparent fillers, if you will. And I love watching that ink go back and forth. Excuse me for a few minutes while I just watch this. Okay. This is the rose gold version. And this is the black version with the black Conklin nib. And that's all she wrote. Saying that's all she wrote. Thanks for watching.